Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for our annual meeting. I'm Dan Moulthrop. I'm the chief executive here. And this is going to be like a four-gong day because we'll open and close the annual meeting, and then we'll open and close the forum. So you get a little extra today. We are 106 years old. That's 106 years of coming together to tackle the issues together, 106 years of gathering to break bread and build a stronger community, 106 years of listening closely and challenging one another's points of view, and doing it all while recognizing one another's essential humanity and understanding that we're all in this together, that even when we disagree, we are working together on this project to build a stronger democracy. As we look back on this past year, we've been struck by how important our partners are in all of the work that we do. You help us plan programs and spread the word about them. You connect us with speakers. You provide financial support. You help us distribute forums. You provide venues for conversations. You help our work reach across the state so that citizens and voters can prepare themselves for civic participation. You help us accomplish so much that we would not be able to do on our own, and we are deeply, deeply appreciative. For staff, among our most important partners are the 27 board members who volunteer their time and guide our work. All of you are board members. You do so much for our institution. In addition to the many hours in committee meetings, providing guidance and direction, the 27 of you were collectively responsible for more than $470,000 in individual, corporate, and philanthropic contributions last year. If you're currently on our board or you've ever served on our board, could you stand for a moment so that we can recognize you and thank you? And now, for a look back at the last year, please join me in welcoming the current president of our board and the recently celebrated Black Professional of the Year, Robin Minter-Smyers of Thompson-Hine.
Isn't Dan Moulthrop great? We got to give him another round of applause. We are so lucky to have Dan Moulthrop at the helm of the City Club. Dan and the entire team here at the City Club are just truly outstanding, and we are very grateful for their leadership. We're also grateful to everyone in this room or listening to the live stream. Whether you're a member or a guest or a corporate sponsor or a philanthropic contributor, you're a partner and a collaborator in this work that we're engaged in to create conversations of consequence to help democracy thrive. This year, we're celebrating partnerships. The partnerships that help us bring in high-profile speakers, the partnerships that allow us to experiment with new forum formats and venues, and the partnerships that helped make it possible for 30% of our programming to be presented free to the public this past year. But first, I'd like to acknowledge you, our members. The more than 800 members who are responsible for raising more than $150,000 in support for our mission. In addition, I'd like to recognize the handful of those 800 plus members, 12 in fact, whose names are on the screen, who have been members for 50 years or more. I'm certainly hoping to get to that threshold myself. You are all leaders, and all of you, and we really thank you for it. I also want to thank a special group of members, those in our philanthropy circle, individuals who have distinguished themselves through their generosity and who have made financial contributions to the City Club this year far in excess of the standard membership dues. As board president, one of my jobs is to oversee fundraising, and all of you have made that job a lot easier this year. Your contributions have enabled extraordinary programming and reach beyond Northeast Ohio. With partners and sponsors in Youngstown and Warren, we created the City Club of the Mahoning Valley. Collaboration with TV, radio, and print media, universities, and civic organizations across the state, along with the support of key funders, contributed to the birth of the Ohio Debate Commission. And here in Northeast Ohio, we joined with MoCA Cleveland and Four Freedoms to convene a series of town hall events that brought together artists and community members for truly unique arts-led civic engagement. In fact, if any of you are free tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m., another of those town halls will be happening at Campus International High School, including an alumnus of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Friends from MoCA are with us today. Thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to tomorrow. All of the donors and sponsors I just mentioned, along with countless others, are listed in the annual report. We are deeply grateful to all of you. Thank you so much. Of course, so many of these partnerships are put to work in service to a singular cause, our mission to create conversations of consequence that help democracy thrive. Can everyone agree that that mission has never been more critical? And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the City Club team member who arranges and conceives of so many of these consequential conversations, our wonderful Director of Programming, Stephanie Jansky.
Thank you, Robin, for that kind introduction. In the last year, when our country and so many parts of our communities seem so divided, we remain steadfast in our mission to connect our community through conversations of consequence. From Corey Lewandowski to Kerry Kennedy, from Views and Brews to Dinner and Dialogue, from the Cleveland Metro Parks to Public Square, whether you're from Cleveland or Youngstown, Warren or Warrensville Heights, we've brought the talk of the nation to you and lifted up the talk of your town so that more people can participate. We convened 138 forums in the last fiscal year, and with the help of our primary media partner, IdeaStream, we have captured nearly 100% of those 138 forums, extending our reach to 500,000 people in Northeast Ohio and beyond. Can we give a round of applause to IdeaStream? Continued partnerships with the Cleveland Foundation, PNC Bank, the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and others allowed us to return to Public Square for a second summer of our For the Love of Cleveland series. And other partnerships fueled our World Affairs programming at the Happy Dog. Inspired by the understanding that the City Club is as much a spirit as it is a space, we took that spirit to restaurants around town through Dinner and Dialogue, to Edgewater Park Beach House to discuss diversifying America's parks, to the streets through our Bike and Learn forums, and to Playhouse Square to partner with the region's libraries to create the One Community Reads program that featured Matthew Desmond and his book, Evicted, Poverty and Profit in an American City. When you look back over the last year, it really was an incredible year for programming, and I did not do it alone. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the City Club members and partners who volunteer and serve on our countless committees, members of the Program Committee, the Debate Committee, the Education, Environment, Healthcare, and World Affairs subcommittees, our Youth Forum Council, and those who help plan the For the Love of Cleveland series. You all not only help shape our programming, but your involvement makes that content richer and more relevant. We could not do this without you. Thank you so much. One line of programming that has really taken shape in the last fiscal year is the City Club of the Mahoning Valley, launched by volunteers and grown with the support of partners at the Raymond John Ween Foundation, Youngstown State University, WYSU, the Youngstown Foundation, and the Community Foundation of the Mahoning Valley. And here to share those successes with you today is our City Club of the Mahoning Valley Project Director, Lynn Bilal.
Thanks, Stephanie. Academic, corporate, and community partnerships helped turn the City Club of the Mahoning Valley from an idea to a reality. In the last year, we hosted 10 forums, including our first State of the Mahoning Valley, featuring mayors of Youngstown and Warren, and in conversation with their community and economic development directors. The Medicaid Redesign Forum, featuring the state directors of the Medicaid and the Mental Health and Addiction Boards, and expanding opportunities for the working class, where we have members from Opportunity America, the American Enterprise Institute, and the Brookings Institution. Other forum topics included climate change, remembering the Women's March, the future of immigration reform, and DACA, and gun violence. Each forum featured a panel of local voices and drew audience of 60 to 1,300 people. I will not leave the stage without mentioning our August forum, which featured how can the arts and all of culture serve our community? It was held at the Warren Amphitheater, featuring leaders from the Mahoning Valley and moderated by the chairman of board of directors at the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, who was David Rubenstein. This forum was attended by more than 1,000 people. It was also preceded by a special performance featuring the cellist Yo-Yo Ma and the Warren Philharmonic and Youngstown Symphony Orchestras. It was quite an event. The past year has certainly been a whirlwind, and I did not do it alone. The accomplishments of the past year could not have been possible without the support and commitment of our founding sponsors, new sponsors, including Bank of America and Nordson, and our advisory committee. This committee, made up of the same volunteers, recognized that the opportunity to bring City Club of the Mahoning Valley in 2016 helped shape our programming. Because of them and our sponsors, we can bring the mission and history of the City Club to the Mahoning Valley. Next, Dan Malthrop.
Lynn, thank you so much, and Stephanie, thank you as well. It's great work that both of you do, and it's a reminder that these forums, these conversations of consequence, this work that we do, it depends on you, both of you, and the great work of all of your colleagues. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking our entire team here at the City Club, including our hospitality staff. Being a part of something like the City Club of the Mahoning Valley reminds me of what it is that the City Club means to community members, whether you're on the west side of Cleveland or Wick Park in Youngstown. The election season we've just participated in reminds me, too, of all of this. The City Club represents something bigger than itself. I often say that because of our partnerships with media, especially IdeaStream and WYSU, along with Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, that when a conversation happens at the City Club, it matters more to more people. That's a piece of it. There's also our history. Robert F. Kennedy in 1968 and his daughter Carrie Kennedy in 2018, Ronald Reagan's speech in 1988 or George W. Bush's in 2006, and then the status quo shattering speeches that so often happen at the City Club, whether it's Bayard Rustin, Ta-Nehisi Coates, or Leana Wen. But beyond the history and beyond the reach, there's still something else. I think that we represent hope for a lot of people. Hope for the strength of our community, hope that civility can endure even in the midst of coarse and divisive politics. Hope that even when we face challenges, and even when those challenges are explicitly about our ability to listen to one another when we disagree, we can meet those challenges as a community. Hope that even when our capacity for empathy may be at risk, that we can still come together, share a meal, and find common ground. Hope that even when our national historic bedrock commitment to the First Amendment means that we are confronted with speech we may detest, we can recommit ourselves to that ideal, knowing that it protects speech in the public square and in the commons, and protects our right to speak directly to those elected to represent us. In 1942, the City Club commissioned a mural to hang in its dining room, then on Short Vincent Street, a block away. And you know this mural. It's called Freedom of Speech, and it hangs right over there. It's by the great African-American painter Elmer Brown. 75 years later, we began a process of engaging artists in Northeast Ohio to create an updated response to the idea of freedom of speech. A wonderful group of community members partnered with us on this process to select a handful of finalists from dozens of submissions. And in the end, we chose the work of three different artists to represent this new idea of freedom of speech, and we sought partners with big blank walls where we could have these murals installed. On the side of the Bonfoy Gallery at Playhouse Square, you'll see the work of April Bleakney. In the middle is a woman of color. Her upturned face and gaze speak of vision for the future. She's surrounded by graphic elements that remind us of our city and its industrial heritage, and she's also surrounded by words taken from the City Club Creed. And she seems to embody the City Club itself, strong in the community's strength, weak in its weakness. It's a beautiful mural, and it's quite amazing to notice it as you walk east on Euclid Avenue through Playhouse Square. It draws you in, and it engages you in a dialogue. On the side of the Harvey Rice branch of the Cleveland Public Library, Donald Black Jr.'s work doesn't draw you in so much as it confronts you. It asks an essential question: free speech for whom? And it demands that we listen to those whose voices have been silenced, oppressed, or ignored in our history. In this case, it's a young African-American boy we are called to see and to listen to. And at the same time, with the microphone seeming to have shattered a window and somehow shattered a symbol of our nation, we are also being asked to listen to and to notice what about our nation is broken. On the side of Collinwood High School, groups of community members, individuals of every shade of humanity, are gathered by artist Christopher Darling in his final work. Christopher died in June and left us all this gift, this reminder of the core values of our institution, the recipe for resilient community, dialogue, diversity, democracy. Darling's style is almost playfully patriotic, subtly inviting us to see in his vision of community, if not ourselves, perhaps our best selves and our best community. Donald Black Jr., April Bleakney, and Christopher's wife, Elaine Darling, are all with us today, along with members of their families and their friends. Would you three stand, please, so we can recognize you and celebrate you? Thank you all for those wonderful visions of what freedom of speech means today. Thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for helping us connect with our community. Soon, these images will also hang on our walls here at the City Club. We're deeply grateful to all of you. Thank you. As you know, this was made possible by so many partners: the selection committee, the sites themselves, Bonfoy Gallery, Cleveland Public Library, Cleveland Metro School District, and by our funders, the Coolest Foundation, the Chuck and Char Fowler Family Foundation, Joanne Cohen, Morris Wheeler and their family, and Laura and Charles Stack. Thank you all so much. And so today, we will celebrate freedom of speech once more with what we do best, a City Club Friday Forum on the topic, featuring a First Amendment pioneer, Mary Beth Tinker. And we once again recommit ourselves to these ideals that are part of our institutional DNA: dialogue, diversity, and democracy. An understanding that our community's strength is our own strength, and a belief that by coming together and participating in conversation and listening, we can and do, in fact, strengthen democracy and make common ground easier to find. We're grateful for all of you for your ongoing commitment to civic and civil dialogue, and we hope you'll join us often in our 107th year. And we'll start our Friday Forum in a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got, we'll start in about 8 or 9 minutes or so. And I'll have a few words before that too. But for the moment, keep eating, enjoy your company, and thank you for being here.